Hi, welcome back. So we are going to move on and start looking at conditional statements. So conditional statements is where we can have a look at whether something is a condition or not. What on earth does that mean? Well, let's just dive in, and so you'll learn that. But essentially, the principle is using something called an if statement or an elif or an else. Okay, so let's have a look. So basically, we're going to look at creating a quiz. All right, and we want to see if someone got the answer right in the quiz question, then it will basically say, yes, well done, you've got it correct. And if they don't get the answer correct, then they will say, well, tough luck. Okay, that's the idea. So how do we do that? So the first thing is we're going to create our variables first, which will be our answers that we are expecting them to get. So I'm going to create an answer 1, and we are going to have this as the answer. What is that? Shearer. Now, you may not know who Alan Shearer is, but he is the greatest footballer of all time. He used to play for Newcastle United. He was the number 10, and he shed loads of goals, both for Newcastle and England. And you must have heard of him. He's amazing. Anyway, check him out on YouTube. And the other answer I'm going to have, so I'm going to create another variable, and this one, this will be Paris. So we're going to have a question. Can you guess what it is? It's going to be, what is the capital of France? All right. So what do? We need to, first of all, get input from our player of the quiz. So we are going to do that. Once again, we're going to create a variable, and we'll call it user answer, and that is going to be equal to, now remember, now we use this input function, and we can then put a question in here. So who is the greatest footballer of all time? And I'm going to do this \n at the end. If you can remember, that actually drops down a line. It gives us what we call a return. So they'll be able to put their answer underneath that question. And whatever they type in, whatever they input, all right, is going to be stored in this variable here. Like, remember, this is like a box that's going to store their answer. Okay, we just call it a user answer, but we could call it anything we want. All right, and then we're going to have, going to ask and see basically whether they get it right. So we can use this principle. We're going to use it, well, if. So we type the word if, okay, all lowercase, and we're going to put in here user answer, and we now do equals, but we do another one. We have to do 2 equals when we are checking to see if something is the case, or we actually call it whether it is the condition is being met. So we're going to see if the user answer, if what they typed in is equal, and then we're going to say answer 1. Okay, so we're testing, yeah, is that the case? And we put this colon at the end, just a bit like when we do a function. All right, and that means it's going to indent automatically underneath. All right, so when it indents, that means whatever I put under here will belong to this here. All right, so I'm going to say, well, if user answer is equal to answer 1, that basically means have they got it correct. All right, I'm going to put in here, and it's going to print on the screen correct. All right, now I'm going to go to the and not have that indentation now, and now I'm going to put, well, what happens if they got it wrong? Well, if user answer is equal to answer 1, they get correct. Then this is when we use else, and else we don't need to have a condition because it's either correct or not. It either equals the answer or it doesn't. So we just do this else and then colon. It will indent automatically again. All right, so you see this gap, it automatically does that. That means whatever I put here will be the else, and then I can put in here print, and I'll go, you are wrong, dude. Okay, you are wrong, dude. So let's see if that works. Let's run that. Okay, so at the moment, the answer is already determined. I've already put it in. I've said it's got to be Alan Shearer, okay, what they type in. And it is got to be written exactly like this. And it's case sensitive. So that means it's got to be a capital S and a capital A here, all right? Otherwise, it won't recognize it. So that's what we're looking for. We ask for input from the user. We give them this question. Whatever they type in is stored in this variable. And if what they typed in here is equal to answer 1, then it will say correct. Otherwise, it's going to say you are wrong, dude. So let's run it. Hello. All right, taking a bit of time. Right, who's the greatest footballer of all time? Well, I know, and everyone does. It's Alan Shearer. Okay, press enter. Correct. All right. Let's just always, we test, okay, make sure it's working properly. So his greatest footballer of all time, well, the only other person I could think of is Mr. Greener. He's the greatest footballer of all time. You are wrong, dude. What? Are you joking? So that seems to work just fine. Okay, well, let's have our second question in here then. Once again, we can use user answer. Now we can reuse that variable, okay, or we can create another one. We don't have to call it user answer. We could call it user answer 2, but we're going to ask another question, input. And once again, what is the capital of France? And then I'm going to use that technique again to drop down the line. All right. I'm actually, this is all set up really nicely for me, so I'm going to copy and paste that. But this time, okay, I do want that variable, but it isn't answer 1. It's going to be answer 2 that I want it to check. Okay, so if whatever they typed in for what is the capital of France, user answer, if their user answer is equal to answer 2, so if it equals Paris, then we're going to click get correct appear on the screen, and if not, wrong do. Okay, so let's test that out. All right, so let's do Alan Shearer again. Once again, yeah, we know it's Alan Shearer. The next question comes up, what is the capital of France? And then we're going to type in Paris. Boom, I'm correct as well. Once again, we can test that out. And I'll show you if we do something slightly different here. So I'm going to go Mr. Greener again. Okay, you're wrong, dude. Still don't understand that one. What is the capital of Paris? So if I typed in Paris like this, notice, look, it's lowercase. And it will say it's wrong, even though we obviously as humans know it's right. Okay, computers will only do as they're told, and it was told that it had to be a capital P here. All right, and so that's what we have to expect. Now we can get around that. There's a method we can use that will allow us to capitalize the first letter of a word, and I'll show you that on another occasion. All right, but I'd like you to try this out. There's one other thing I think I'm going to get you to do as well. No, we'll do that next lesson. It's called an accumulator, and what we're going to do is we're going to add to this game a way of it collecting how many questions we've got correct. Okay, so I would like you to do what I've done here, but you can have your own questions, but I would like you to do it for 4 questions, okay? So you can have 4 different questions and with answers to them as well for someone to play for us. Okay, good luck with that, and yeah, bye.